Hey everyone, Amanda Coulong with TechZulu.com. I am here with Twist Up Show Off Lunch, and this is JR. How are you?
Good, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Well, thank you. So, how did it go for you?
It was great. It was a good audience, a lot of good companies presenting. So yeah, it was fun.
Okay. So, for those who couldn't be here or maybe missed the live stream, what is Lunch?
Lunch is a user-generated content platform. So. First thing though, the name Lunch, a lot of people get confused and think it has something to do with food or something, which it doesn't. I say it has as much to do with food as Amazon has to do with a river in South America, or Apple has to do with produce. It's a name that's
good point.
Right? It's a name that's broad enough to cover everything that people can talk about on lunch.com. Yeah.
So user-generated content, what respect?
It's a platform, so you can talk about anything and everything. So anything that you're passionate about, you can go and share that. The thing that we do that's really interesting and really unique is we build a similarity network out for you. So it helps you cut through all the noise and all the clutter of all the user-generated content that we now get online, and just lets you focus in on the stuff that's most relevant. The idea is you don't need 800 reviews of anything. You need one review from the one person who's most like you, and that's exactly what Lunch does.
An authority meter too. Right?
It's a trust, yeah, authority and a trust meter, but more relevance, because once you get something from somebody who's very similar to you on a particular topic, that's going to be most relevant, and you're going to be able to trust that the most. We kind of compare it to, people are very into Facebook and into their social graph, and that's fantastic. You might have 500 or 1,000 people that you can tap into, but if we can get beyond the social graph and get into the rest of the world and find somebody that might even have information better for you than one of the 500 people that you know on Facebook, this can become very powerful and very compelling and really get quality information.
It seems, too, that you would be able to mine some pretty interesting data from those relationships, too, because, for instance, what out of, the mass amount of people that you're friends with on, say, a Facebook, how many in Lunch would you have enough similarity with on a given topic? Would that be a big percentage, a small percentage? What sorts of numbers would come out of that, I guess, that would be surprising to people?
Yeah, exactly. And when you start taking that and taking all those opinion points that we're able to extract, or not even extract, that people voluntarily give because they get something so valuable back out of it, and the different ways that they contribute content to it. So for example, if you go ahead and you write a review on, let's say, the movie Avatar, that tells a lot about you. First, you're going to tell your opinion about it, but it's also that you're into movies, you're probably into James Cameron movies, and you're probably into sci-fi. We're able to make all of those connections for you so that when somebody else wants to write a review about, some book, we're going to know how relevant that book review is going to be to you just based on everything that you've done across almost a completely unrelated category.
How many data points do you follow?
Well, to be honest, I don't even know how many data points are in the system right now, but it's how many do I personally follow? And there is a feature on there where you're able to follow a data point, so you see all the information that happens on that specific data point. And I'm currently following probably only 12. Yeah.
It just seems like there's a big trend, even with some of the other show-offs here, about looking at this massive information that you have on the web and finding ways to only pull out what's relevant to you. Do you agree?
Well, I think that's really when. My previous company was Virtual Tourist, and we sold that company to Expedia. That company was user-generated content for travel. We started that back in 1999 when people didn't really know what user-generated content was or really understand it. So now the pendulum has swung completely in the other direction, and we're inundated with all of this user-generated content, and we don't know what to do with it. We know it's valuable if we can trust it and it's relevant, but because there's so much noise out there, it's nice to kind of the next generation of user-generated content is going to be really filtering it down on what's most relevant, most important to you.
Do you think relationships could come out of this?
Well, I don't want to be perceived as a dating site because it's not that, but anytime people are coming together around areas that they're passionate about, I think they will, some relationships may develop. And with Virtual Tourists, we probably had a few dozen marriages that came out of that just because people were coming together around their love of travel. And it's, I don't know, it's natural. I think it'll probably happen.
So, it could either be a romantic relationship or just communities, maybe, that even form based on the similarities that they find with each other.
Absolutely. Communities, specific niche communities are very important as far as kind of our plans for growing and developing Lunch.
And what are some of your existing users saying? I mean, what has surprised them? What kind of feedback are you getting?
Well, the main thing, and that's a great question, and that's something that has been really encouraging for us, is that when they come to it, they just say how different it is. They say how different it is from the message boards, from Amazon, where they might be contributing, from all the other areas where they're out there, because we've spent a lot of work trying to build the brand around making this about fostering a respectful discourse. And I want critical thought on this, not you suck or you rock. That's, you can leave that for some other sites. This is about, I want people to actually talk about what they're passionate about and be able to stand behind it in a warm and encouraging environment. And almost
encouraging healthy debate.
Not debate, sure, but it's more just kind of healthy understanding and healthy dialogue. Sure. I don't really, and it's not necessarily that we want people arguing and debating about stuff, but if you disagree with somebody, I want you to handle it in a respectful way.
Well, that's what debate is. Debate is different than arguing.
True. Yeah, true. Thank you. Thank you. But no, that's a valid point, and that's something that is that so many of our contributors so far have said that they've just really loved about it, is that it is different and people do behave differently there. And we spend a lot of time working on that, because you've got to establish and then maintain the integrity of a community for it to work. The example we use is when you walk into somebody's house and all the shoes are by the door, you know to take your shoes off before you walk into that house. So that's kind of what we try to set out, that we don't want people, bringing a bunch of dirt into our living room.
I don't think anybody does. Anyway, so what stage are you in? Are you private, public, beta? Where are you at?
It's a public beta. It's open. Yeah, we launched it early last summer, and it's going great so far. Yeah, we're just in attracting users and getting more content, and as that content comes in, it gets SEO'd and it generates more traffic. So it's looking great so far.
And looking for funding?
No, we're not. Yeah, we're.
You don't need it. Well, there you go.
We don't need it. Yeah, exactly.
And so if someone wants to join the discussion and find similarities with people, where do they go?
Just go to lunch.com. Just go through the Get Started piece, and it'll build a similarity network for you. And through that network, you're going to find people who are similar to you. You're going to find interesting and relevant content for yourself. And it's a pleasant experience to share the things that you care about.
Great. Well, thank you so much, JR. Super great to have you here at Twist Up. And hopefully we'll learn a bit more in the future about lunch and what you've got going on.
Great. Thanks, Amanda.
Thanks, everyone. This is JR with Lunch, and I am Amanda Coulong with TechZulu.com.